What's going on, everybody? Well, it's the following week. It's Monday. Went to Home Depot over the weekend. Tried to get some trim. So I'm just loosely cutting it. Getting it fit in. Everything else is done. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this cut and fit. And then the boss wants me to spray paint it a shade of brown so that it matches the trailer. I'm going to have to find a brad nailer, I think, to get this stuff secured. We'll silicone everything and get it done. So basically it's a whole bunch of 45 degrees and 1/2 inch quarter round trim. This is not anything I feel like I need to film. It's pretty simple to install and I don't want to bore you guys, so when everything is finished I'll bring you back and show you.
Eventually,
Trim all day long. Trim while I sing this song.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's the next day again. I did not get a chance to finish this yesterday. I got pulled off to work on other things, of course. But I did order some new registers for the floor because the ones that came in this RV were made out of plastic and they're kind of garbage. So I told the boss that. I said, I ordered some new registers for the floor. And he looked at me like I had a thumb growing out of my forehead. And I said, you know, the vent covers. Oh, what do you call them that? Where I grew up, I always just called them registers or register covers anyway. I'm curious as to what you guys refer to them as. If, you know, I'm an alien. I don't think I am because I ordered new ones and heavy duty floor register. Yeah, these are made out of steel, whereas the old ones are made out of plastic. So I'm going to throw these in. I ordered 4 of them. I only got 3. I guess the 4th one's coming today. Come from a separate warehouse, so I don't know. But I'm going to get back to doing trim. Getting this squared away. I got to spray paint all of this once I get all the pieces cut. And then we'll actually install it. Silicone everything in place. Nail it in. Whatever we got to do. So yeah. Moving right along. Hopefully I'll have this done today. If not today, tomorrow for sure. Famous last words, maybe. I don't know. Alright, well, maybe I went a little bit overboard on putting the table back in. But I got out my transfer punches and my drill bits. And I actually pre-drilled all this stuff just to make sure that the flooring didn't split. Probably was unlikely to happen anyway, but, you know, just because this hole goes through the seam, I didn't want to risk popping this out. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get the deck plates bolted back in. They're kind of attached to the table legs still, but that's the table. It just flips over and fits right down in here. So, anyway. Just going to get the deck plates put in, then I'll take the table and the legs back out. That way I can get in here and do the trim and stuff. But, yeah. Okay, next. Oh, boy. Rocking and rolling, everybody. It is, like, I don't even know what day it is today. I think it's Wednesday of the following week. So it's been a week and a half now. I've been kind of doing this thing on and off with a few interruptions for equipment problems and whatnot. But anyway, I know I said I'd bring you back when I was done. And I almost am, but let me zoom out here. As you can see, most of the trim is on. I'm working my way around here. I'm doing the dining area right now, and then go back to the bathroom door, and then back to right there, and that's it. That's the last piece right there. That guy. So I'm on this one right now. I figured I'd basically just show you the method that I'm using to trim this thing out. It's nothing fancy. This is 1/2 inch quarter round PVC trim. So it's basically entirely made of plastic. And if you're not familiar with what trim is, quarter round is if you were to take a 1-inch rod and split it into quarters, that's a quarter of a 1-inch circle. So 1/2 inch wide, so this is 1/2 inch wide from end to end, or side to side rather, and it's quarter round. So it's a quarter of a round piece of stock essentially. So when you lay that on the floor, you get this nice curved edge that kind of looks pleasing to the eye. So what I'm doing is just taking this step, this is DynaFlex 230, and I'm going around, it's basically clear silicone. I'm laying a bead of silicone behind each one of these trim pieces, laying the trim into it so that it squeezes out top and bottom. That doesn't really matter if it squeezes out or not, but I mean, just to ensure that you know you have enough in there. I'm laying a pretty thick bead of it. And then I'm going around with some 1.25 inch finishing brads and a brad nailer, and I'm securing them to the floor. So I guess I'll just set the camera up real quick and just kind of show you how I go about that. So give me a second here. We're just going to lay this piece in real quick. Anyway, so I just got a fresh tube of this DynaFlex 230. And the reason I used like the DynaFlex instead of like the Alex, both are made by DAP, and they would both work in this application, but the DynaFlex is actually, it's got a little bit more, well, hence the name DynaFlex, it's a lot more flexible. And since this is a trailer and it's going to go off-road up on the mountain where it's going to get a lot of twists and turns going into it, I wanted to use something that was a little bit more flexible. And I used this to repair the outside panels that had broken away too, which is how this whole problem got started. That repair I was telling you about, basically the sealing caulk that they used was not flexible enough, and under load, this whole trailer flexed enough to rip that caulk open, which allowed, as the water was running down the side of the trailer, it just went whoop right into the wall. And once it was in the wall, it made its way to the floor, obviously, and then we had a problem. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and clean off the end of this because I just primed this tube. It's brand new, so it's kind of leaking out on me. But anyway, that's why I use the DynaFlex 230. If you're doing this in your house, the Alex stuff is just as good, or whatever brand of, 3M, whatever brand of clear silicone stuff that you want to use. This is just readily available at Home Depot. It's easy, it's cheap, so that's what we're going to use. And for the reasons that I mentioned, it works a lot better in this application. So get started here. We're just going to squeeze out a nice fat bead of this. I'm going to slow down a little bit in the areas where there's bigger gaps. I want to try to make this relatively consistent. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you want to try to get the same amount in all your areas that you're trying to secure. Good enough. And just take our trim, and this is painted, by the way. It starts off as this white color, then we painted it this kind of light sandy brown color. That was per the boss's request. He didn't want it just straight up white. So whatever. I'll just press that into place. And yes, I did put a 45-degree bevel on the end of each of these so they fit together nicely and they look good. You don't have to do that, but I highly recommend it. It makes kind of everything just look properly finished that way. And you're noticing that we're going to get a lot of squeeze out here. That's okay. That's what we want. We know that it's got plenty of adhesive underneath there. I'm not worried that it's not squeezing out there. You saw how much I put there. Problem is this board is cut a little bit shorter, so there's a deeper gap for that to fill. So that's not a big deal. We know there's plenty of sealant back there. So then we'll just take our brad nailer. And again, these are 1.25" finishing brads, so they won't rust or anything, which is important. And we're just gonna zap a couple in. There we go. All right, for the compressor to turn off. So that's pretty much it. One helpful thing that I've found you can do, instead of scraping this off immediately, give it about 15 minutes, let it kind of start to dry and skin over a little bit. That way when you take your scraper, I'm just using this little mini pry tool, wherever it made its way off to. There it is. I'm just using this guy. After that skins up a little bit, it'll be a lot easier to just kind of peel off the floor. If you do it right now and it's still completely wet, what it'll do, it'll smear, and this will act like a plow, and it'll just kind of leave a flat wedge of that on the floor. I'm trying to avoid that. It'll either get on the floor or it'll get up onto your trim, and it'll just make a mess. So let that skin up a little bit, 10-15 minutes, and then go back through with this or something like this, and just go and just peel it off and go in, like, 10-inch sections. Build up a little bit on the knife, clean it off, keep going until you have a nice clean edge. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. There's 33 pieces of this trim, and yes, I did trim out everything. So 33 pieces of trim to go all the way around and end here. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'll bring you back when everything is completely finished. I know I've said that like, what, 4 times now? But what I'm doing, I just wanted to kind of show you as I'm doing this. So yeah, be done here shortly. Oh, good morning, everybody. The day has finally come. This project is finished. So I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough. This is the master bedroom in this camp trailer. Obviously, there's no mattress here. We took that out so we could lift that panel up to work easier in here and get it to everything behind it. As you can see, got everything done. Flooring goes all the way wall to wall. Everything's trimmed out all the way around the perimeter. I think that it turned out exceptionally well, honestly. As you can see, got our new register covers in place. These are actually made out of steel, so they're not going to warp and crack and break like the original ones were. So I got the brown ones, hoping that they would match, and I think they look fine. White would have stuck out like a sore thumb. That was the only two options I had, white or brown. So you can see everything's finished out. Now all this area, I mean, I sealed around everything, including the kick plate by the entry and everything, and that looks white still. It's because that's super thick silicone, and that will clear up as it dries. You can see kind of the thinner areas there. Let me show you. It is starting to clear out once it actually cures, but because that's on there so thick, it's going to take a while. So not a big deal. Anything that you see there that looks white still, it's not going to be white forever. Like these corners and everything where I filled all that in, you know, that'll end up being clear eventually, which is fine. But yeah, it goes all the way around. Obviously that line of white caulk down there, that's just to seal the carpet against the flooring. But I put the kick plate back on the front of the couch here, but I did go under here and secure that edge of the flooring. You can see the screws sticking up back there, but I put a bead of caulk underneath the back edge of that flooring where it's not attached to anything, and ran some screws down through that to secure it. Secured everything around the electrical connections, so all that is sealed up. Obviously the deck plates have been reinstalled along with the table. Those are the two vertical posts I was talking about in the earlier portion of this. But you saw where I drilled the holes through here, but in order to make that completely watertight from the edges in case anybody spills anything, I'm not worried about stuff getting down in here. That's just a cup. That's all. This is all one molded piece. So if it gets down in there, it's not going to hurt anything other than making these posts harder to remove. But what I did when I dropped the deck plates in there, I ran a bead of that silicone all the way around where all the holes are in a complete circle. That way when I ran the screws down in there, they grabbed that silicone and it got on the threads and everything else. So the screws and everything is completely sealed to the floor. So even if anything does get up underneath here, it won't be able to make it past that layer of silicone. So it's not going to get down into the floor. So that's good. Got all that trimmed out. Yeah, that's basically it. All the way back here, I had to notch the trim just a little bit to make clearance for that register, but that was easy enough to do on my belt sander. I just ran it back over to my house real quick after sketching out where it needed to be cut. And again, more caulk there against the carpet, which will dry clear once it actually cures. So that's it. Yeah, pretty nice little RV for our cattle guys. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. So I'm going to give this thing another couple of days just sitting here to dry, and then I'll put away the shore power cords, fold this couch, I'll slide the couch and everything back in, and get this thing ready to go. It's already hooked up to a truck, so they should be able to take it here shortly. But yeah, that's it. LifeProof flooring and an RV. And I did take my wife's little shark steam mop thing and clean up all the dust and dirt and whatnot off the floor, just to make it nice for the boss's wife. Less for her to do. Some brownie points for me. Maybe. She's already made me cookies, so I can't ask for much more than that. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for sticking around. I know this is probably going to end up being a pretty long video. But yeah, I think the project turned out exceptionally well. It really transforms the look of any room that you put this LifeProof flooring in. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the 4th project I've done with this flooring. My own house included, the owner's house, our seasonal guy's house, and now this trailer. So, I mean, it works really, really well. And once you get it figured out, it lasts pretty much forever. I mean, they don't call it LifeProof for nothing. I mean, it's got a lifetime residential warranty. So it's good stuff. Not sponsored by Home Depot or anybody else, like I say in all my videos. That's just me doing this on my own. So anyway, if you have any questions, leave me a comment. I broke 700 subscribers the other day, and that's just mind-boggling to me. So for everybody who has followed along as this channel has grown, you guys are freaking awesome, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. Anyway, guys, that's enough rambling from me. If you like this project and you like this video, go ahead and click that like button. Let me know that you're actually paying attention to what I'm doing. If you want to subscribe to the channel, if you're curious about more stuff like this, go ahead and subscribe. My goal for this year, maybe we'll hit 1,000 subs. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but it'd be a pretty cool milestone for the channel if it did. So, relying on you guys to help me make that happen. Appreciate each and every one of you guys who've subscribed and who follow along. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, truly. That's it for this one, but there'll be more to come. So I invite you to follow along. You guys have a great week, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.